Catherine called her husband as soon as she and her daughter were transferred to the hospital room. She wanted to inform him that the delivery went well and they were feeling fine, but he didn't pick up. The next day, her husband still didn't call. Towards the evening, Catherine started calling her husband's friends, who weren't even aware that she had given birth. She called his mother, thinking he might be with her, but didn't directly ask, not wanting to cause panic. Her own mother was not an option to bother, given her high blood pressure. The thought that something irreparable had happened to her husband firmly lodged in her mind. As a last resort, she called their neighbor. Though they weren't particularly close, the situation demanded urgency. The neighbor reassured Catherine, saying she had seen Vitaly and everything was fine with him, but she couldn't check on him herself as she had gone skiing at a resort. Catherine resorted to messaging her husband on WhatsApp. He read the messages but didn't respond, which felt like mockery to her. Catherine reached her boiling point and, without holding back, gave her husband a piece of her mind, rightly so. She didn't know what to do. The problem was, she was due to be discharged from the maternity hospital in 2 days, and she hadn't brought any clothes for the baby. She could manage herself since the hospital was just 10 minutes away on foot, but the baby couldn't. She had to call her mother, who brought everything and helped her daughter get home. But at home, all of her husband's belongings were there, but he wasn't, and his car was missing too. It seemed he hadn't returned home since he dropped her off at the hospital. Her mother stayed with Catherine, who was going insane, not knowing what to think or do. The situation was anything but ordinary. Just to be safe, they called all the hospitals, but Vitaly wasn't in any of them. Catherine continued calling her husband until his phone died. Finally, the situation began to clear up, a call from an unknown number. A man introduced himself as a hospital employee and informed Catherine that Vitaly had seriously broken his leg and was being taken for surgery. He couldn't call or text himself. Now it made sense why he was reading messages, but couldn't reply. Probably the doctors were reading them. Catherine started questioning the man about her husband's condition and why he needed to be transferred. It turned out Vitaly was in a hospital in another city. He had been snowboarding in a forbidden area, which necessitated a special transfer, and he could be brought to a hospital closer to home afterward. The puzzle was coming together for Catherine. She had long noticed that the neighbor had a soft spot for her husband. Their relationship had soured because of it. Of course, she had told Catherine the truth then. She had seen her husband, and everything was indeed fine with him. Moreover, they were skiing together, having a blast while Catherine was losing her mind. It hurt Catherine deeply. Well, the main thing was that he was alive. She thought she should call her mother-in-law and reassure her. Turns out, she already knew. So, you knew he went on vacation? And with whom did you know? And you didn't tell me anything? No, you absolutely should not have known about it. He said he'd go for a couple of days and be back for the discharge. Mrs. Irina, if there's one thing I love about you, it's that you speak your mind first and then think. True, I used to dislike you for it, but now I've grown to love it. Wait. What's with your love? We need to organize the transfer. No, Mrs. Irina, count me out of it, please. How can you be out of it? Are you his wife or what? Oh, you remembered I'm his wife. And when I was struggling, alone with our newborn baby, what was I to you then? Did you care about me? How difficult it was for me. The main thing was to cover for our son. What kind of person are you? I didn't want to upset you. Continue in the same vein. And don't upset me. Take Vitaly from the hospital straight to your place. We don't need such a father for our child.